Today's episode is brought to you by Diane Kinlaw of Go Prime Mortgage and Jamie Tulak of eXp Realty. I have WRL's app on my TV in my bedroom, and they have a category called like good news. And there was this story of a Boston police officer who saw a woman who was outside and she was crying and she was in emotional distress on the sidewalk, and he went and asked her what was up. She was upset because she didn't have the money to pay for it. She was a single mom, turns out, with 3 kids. And so the police officer bought her groceries, like over $200 worth, with his own money. And the single mom was like blown away by it. And I thought, man, that's cool. Give people the opportunity. And the cops said, we're here to serve and protect. I was just doing my job.
Thank you for listening to the Guys Who Do Stuff podcast. Visit guyswhodostuff.com. You probably shouldn't Google that.
All right, welcome to the Guys Who Do Stuff podcast. I'm Joe.
And I'm Josh.
This is a show where we help you get unstuck, tell a better story, and have a good answer to the question, what are you doing today? Josh and I have spent the last 40 frustrating minutes trying to make all of our gear work with our podcast so that we can use our fancy cameras and microphones. And it's been a frustrating 40 minutes. I don't know if anybody else out there has been experiencing that when they're making all their Zoom calls, but stuff just doesn't work sometimes.
It has been a 40-minute fiasco, Joe.
That's right. But I'll just throw right into something that's going on right now called Zoom bombing, which is essentially people, prankers, hackers, whatever words you want to use, are jumping into people's Zoom calls just to mess with them. In a lot of cases, putting up either offensive or pornographic or racist stuff just for messing with people. My wife actually had this happen to her not too long ago at a Chamber of Commerce meeting, where she was sitting in a Zoom call. The meeting was about to get started, and somebody had taken over the screen, and these pair of boobs had shown up. And then somebody started like circling the right nipple, and then they started like circling the left nipple. And the guy leading the meeting was like, it's not me. It's not me. It's not me. I'm not sharing my screen. I'm not doing it. Which it's crazy that stuff is happening to people.
How about the lady who turned into a potato while she was leading a team?
Oh, really?
See that one? Yeah.
So they're just messing with people.
She couldn't figure out how to turn it off, and she just led the team as a potato.
Here's a tip here from CNET on how to prevent this from happening to you if you find yourself in a lot of Zoom meetings and don't want to find yourself explaining something that wasn't your fault. What they're telling you is a couple of things. Don't use your personal meeting ID. Use a per meeting ID. Enable the waiting room. So if somebody wants to jump in, they can't just auto pop in. As the admin of the meeting, you'll see them show up, and you'll have to admit them to the meeting. Between those two things and maybe disabling all the other options like joining before host and things like that, you should be in a pretty good place so that it doesn't happen to you. We did the last episode, and we want to kind of continue on that. Talk about some good news about stuff that people are doing during COVID, the silver lining stories that are kind of happening out there, as well as highlighting what's going on with local businesses and maybe what we can do to support them.
Yeah, let's share those couple of things that we came across on our walks or bike rides.
Yeah, I went on a walk with my dog this morning, and I had seen this online article about this thing called a teddy bear hunt, where essentially people are putting a teddy bear in their windows so that the whole neighborhood is converted to like a highlights magazine where you're trying to find the hidden image. So when you go on a walk with your kids or you go on a drive with your kids, you basically hunt and see how many teddy bears you can find. On this one in my neighborhood, if you're on YouTube, you can see it. Somebody has one of those giant carnival sized ones above their garage. And I ended up counting like 6 of them on my walk this morning.
Well, I found one too. I was on a little solo bike ride in a neighborhood here, and came across this here. So check this out. Some kids had gotten creative with having a great day. I really like that.
It says, have a great day along like somebody's whole fence line, which I hope they did that in chalk because it looks like paint. The parents are like, I know we told you to do something nice, kids, but seriously, that's vandalism.
Chalk is one of those things I've seen really bringing families together. There's kids out chalking on.
I've seen a lot of that.
Because the next rain, and it's easy to clean.
So let's talk about a couple of cool things that have been happening around the country. I want to focus on things that I think are pretty cool ways to adapt, because I think all of us as business owners or entrepreneurs are either having to pivot or really starting to feel the pinch at this point, being a month in to this COVID thing. And there's this news story that I saw about a husband and wife who are in a band together called Keystone Postcard. They're full-time musicians, right? I know there's probably a lot of people that are in that boat. And that's one of those industries that's really hard hit, right? You've got your event people and especially musicians, because if you're making your money as a musician, how do you pivot? So, I mean, they're probably moving to online sales, et cetera, trying to record, make use of their time and make a studio album maybe. I don't know. But this group, this husband and wife group, Keystone Postcard, were used to playing 200 gigs a year. They played most of their gigs at another hard hit part of our economy, which is restaurants. So what they decided to do was twice a week, they're putting up their PA system in their driveway and they're playing shows for the neighborhood. And
That's so cool.
They're encouraging like social distancing, so that your chair is far enough apart or people listen from their cars. But twice a week, they're putting on like a mini concert from their driveway for their neighborhood.
Is it like really selfish that I just like, as I start this whole Zoom thing and I've gotten this, you know, knocking this out like, hey, how do I look? How do I look? it's so,
you're like
it's so vague.
The same thing that happens to my daughter when she steps in front of a mirror. Like she can't pay attention anymore. She's like, "How is this?"
I don't think it's so much how do I look. So for those of us that are like obsessed with like positioning the composition, right? That's doesn't mean it's a selfish thing. You just start kind of critiquing a composition and the lighting and the right. So
I think anybody with like any experience in film work is going to hate Zoom calls because they're thinking about stuff that no one else in Zoom land is thinking about, like like rule of thirds. How is my aperture set? Like, do I have enough depth of field? Is that cool?
So I picked up this really handy device called a Camlink 4K. So Camlink 4K is, I think, what, Joe, primarily like a gamer's tool? Or
it's for live streamers.
Yeah. So it's I'm really enjoying using it because I can use depth of field and play around, use my camera that I have, which I use a Fuji X-T3.
I actually bought the Ada Mini, so it's a different version of what Josh is talking about, but performs the same function, but it's got 4 clean HDMI inputs. So that allows you to hook up like 4 different HDMI sources. I'm just using one, and I got it hooked up to a Sony A7 Mark II. What camera are you using, Josh?
Fujifilm X-T3.
So we're clearly using more camera than we need for a Zoom call. But with all that, I think that's what the point that you're trying to make. If you're used to seeing what your film looks like through your good camera, that's how you want it to be, you know, because it's like it represents your work.
Yeah. Well, moving on, now that elephant has been addressed, let's focus on what's really important, which is how do we highlight what's going on?
Yeah. So let's talk about local businesses. I saw this really cool thing going on here in Cary where Bond Brothers, which is a brewery, and, you know, they're shut down right now, but the next one's coming up on Saturday, April 11th. You can go to their website, bondbrothersbeer.com, and what they're doing is 12 to 8 p.m., Bond Brothers Beer Company will be hosting a local brew drive-through where they're basically selling the beers of Vicious Fishes, their beers, Ass Clown Brewery, Mason Jar Lager, Oakland Springs, Pursuit Ales, and Bond Brothers Beer. It's a drive-through. You order online, and all the sales will go directly to the brewery and their staff of who is selling them. And they've got like a little parking thing on their website where they show you how to drive in and how to drive out and make the loop around basically Chatham and Cedar Street. It looks like it's been going for weeks now, and I didn't hear about it till just now, so I might go check that out this weekend.
Very cool. I wonder if, because Bond Brothers is located next to a train track, I wonder if they ever have a deal where they could the train would stop and they could unload beer or load beer. That'd be kind of cool if the train made a personal stop at their business. And
yeah, I don't know how that works.
Yeah.
I did see another thing that I thought was very interesting that also, I guess it's just a good news story that I saw it on WRAL. I have WRAL's app on my TV in my bedroom, and they have a category called like good news. And there was this story of a Boston police officer who saw a woman who was outside and she was crying and she was in emotional distress on the sidewalk, and he went and asked her what was up. She was upset because she didn't have the money to pay. She went out to go get groceries. She was a single mom, turns out, with 3 kids. And so the police officer bought her groceries like over $200 worth with his own money. And the single mom was like blown away by it. And just thought, man, that's cool. Give people the opportunity. And the cop said, we're here to serve and protect. I was just doing my job.
Oh, that's a great story, Joe.
Yeah. Have you heard of anybody doing virtual weddings?
We should show a little picture in the top, right in here of the little of the good deed, right in here on your screen. I wish I could just reach over into your screen and head like that. Yeah.
Wait, hold on. If I put my hand in the right spot, I wonder if we can.
Hey, that's like
If you're not watching this doesn't make any sense. I think I can with that ATEM thing. Maybe we'll figure that out for next time.
That would be cool.
But back to the weddings question. Last week we talked about all the people that we know who are wedding photographers and how hard hit that industry is right now. And we were talking about things like how a lot of businesses are having to pivot. I've seen more and more news stories and more ways that people are getting married virtually. Have you seen any virtual weddings, Josh?
No, I have not seen any virtual weddings, but that's an interesting idea. I'm not a wedding photographer, but I realize how they are being very affected. But I have a funny story. So a guy asked me if I could shoot a wedding coming up in April. And I said, well, tell me about this wedding. So it turns out they want to go in the woods and do it in a social distance manner. And so I knew this perfect spot in the woods. And so I met him on my bicycle a couple of days ago, and we social distanced like more than double. And I showed them the spot, and they love the spot. And it's like there's totally like a creek separating, and they're on a little like island in the woods. And they're gonna be married on the little island. And then I'm gonna shoot from far with a telephoto lens and just capture the ceremony. So It's kind of a good story. I'm looking forward to being a part of.
That's fun. Our title sponsors for this show are Diane Kinlaw and Jamie Tulak. Whether you're looking to purchase a new home or wish to refinance, why not seek the counsel of a friend who happens to know the Triangle housing market better than the back of her hand? As your local lender, Diane Kinlaw knows how important this area is to you because it's her home too. That's why she's made it a goal not to just be the best loan officer around, but a community leader supporting small businesses with referrals and networking events and supporting local charities with frequent fundraisers. If you're looking to move to Holly Springs or the surrounding area, or maybe interested in a refinance to lower your term or rate, Diane offers a wide array of programs to fit your family's needs. Let her be a part of your path home. A home doesn't have to be a dream. Let Diane make it a reality. You can contact us at www.goprime.com and search for Diane or call 919-624-9541. GoPrime Mortgage Incorporated Company, NMLS number 69551. Diane Kinlaw, NMLS number 1600777. GoPrime is an equal housing opportunity lender. Today's show sponsor, Jamie Tulak of eXp Realty, has a passion for serving clients and nearly a decade of industry experience as a top producing realtor and designer. Jamie Tulak of eXp Realty will help you reach your real estate goals. Whether you're buying, selling, investing, or renting in today's market, having an experienced real estate expert working for you is crucial. And don't forget to ask her about her Hometown Heroes credit for military, police, firefighters, teachers, and medical providers. Contact Jamie Tulak today at 559-707-1913. That's 559-707-1913. MRP certified. I actually found this awesome resource that I wanted to tell everybody about. If you go to the Cary Chamber of Commerce site, which Josh and I, we cover a lot of businesses that are out of Cary in our show, and we had the mayor on. He's a super great guy, and I thought they did this really cool thing on the chamber, and I think other chambers are doing it, so I wanted you to know about it if you're a business owner or an entrepreneur. So if you go to the carychamber.com, and there's a button on the homepage that says COVID-19 updates and resources, then there's a database that you can enter yourself into for supporting local businesses that essentially will let you, as your business, update people on what's going on with your business. So what you get is when you log in, you can see like Potbelly Sandwich Shop has filled out the thing, and they say that, hey, we'd love to meet any food or catering needs with toasty sandwiches. So that one's maybe a little old because they're probably not catering any events anymore. But there's hundreds of local businesses that are listed in here with either their needs or the ways that they're changing up their services or they're changing up their offerings because of COVID. So the Cary School, for example, is on here, and it says that it's becoming a little difficult for us to find milk at the store. So just a way to kind of get out there and share your needs.
I was told, my buddy told me yesterday that they finally switched to online grocery ordering and that the groceries were backed up over 1 week.
Yeah, they are.
Is that Roger? Is that true?
Yeah. So if you want to get your groceries delivered at Harris Teeter, you need to order them a week out. Yeah. So order. Woo! If you know you're running low, I'd order now if you want to have them delivered to your car.
I did that thing at Best Buy where you pick up something curbside, and they they handled it like real pros. And let me tell you, it was like trunk, threw it in the trunk. I was out, and they had it 10 feet from your car, wouldn't come any closer, and you'd use a code and all that. So I was impressed how they were running it.
I'm reading this right now, and I just realized we're talking about Bond Brothers, that they're doing that every day from 12 to 8 p.m. now.
Yeah. Beer is getting around, isn't it? People are delivering. So Bond Brothers is doing 12 to 8 curbside pickup. Is that what you said?
12 to 8 curbside pickup. Order on their website, and you can go grab it.
Interesting. Good for you that you live so close to there, Joe.
There's a lot of cool stuff on here, like restaurants that are donating part of their proceeds to first responders and stuff like that, purchasing future gift cards, just a lot of ways that local businesses are saying, here's what we're doing to adapt. So I would check that out. If you're a business owner, make sure you fill out your chamber's list like this so that everybody can kind of keep in the know with what's going on with people's businesses. What level of open are you? What new services are you changing up anything? It seems like we have ate out a lot more, doing a lot of curbside, just trying to do our part to keep local businesses open.
Yeah. I guess I'm not doing much of that. I'm just staying home a lot and eating here and cooking.
So that's what we're supposed to be doing, right? I saw a really funny internet meme that said, this is the only time, this is like 100-year kind of weird thing, right? Like our kids are going to be telling their grandkids, they're going to be interviewed by their grandkids about living through this epidemic when they're old and gray. And it's the weirdest thing, that what we need to do to beat this thing is to stay at home, eat, and watch Netflix. And this is like, we're the heroes. What are you doing? I'm doing what I was told. I'm staying home, and I'm not doing anything. I'm not working. I'm doing the thing. I did find a couple cool things, though, that I wanted to pass along that really aren't business related, but I think are cool. And one's a great example of what I think is a great way to do a virtual pivot of something that's been in existence for a long time. And I don't know if you've heard this, Josh, but Amazon has become the official streaming partner of the South by Southwest Film Festival because it got canceled this year. And they are going to, everybody that has an Amazon Prime account that's behind the payment wall can go to South by Southwest this year.
No kidding.
Yeah. It's targeted late April launch date. Normally by this point it already would have happened, but they're getting ready. They're gearing up, and they're talking about whether or not they'll do the panels as well. But apparently it's going to be like this really cool virtual festival. And I've never been to South by Southwest. It's always kind of been on my bucket list. So I'm looking forward to checking that out.
That is really a good thing right there. Thanks for sharing that, Joe.
I was reading on their website, so I had it pulled up right here. So if you go to South by Southwest's website, they're kind of breaking down what that looks like and what the partnership looks like. And so it's a limited time free access. It says on here that they will play exclusively on Prime Video in the U.S. for 10 days. This one-time event will be available in front of the Prime Video paywall. Oh, it's in front of it, and free to all audiences around the country, with or without an Amazon Prime membership. All they need is a free Amazon account. So yeah, don't even need the Prime membership. I was wrong about that. Just need to sign up for a free Amazon. Like, who doesn't have an Amazon account at this point?
My dad.
Would he be interested in attending the South by Southwest Festival virtually?
If there are Westerns.
And then one more thing that I thought was cool that I wanted to share. Yeah. HBO Now has moved 500 hours of content over for free. And so you don't even have to sign up. It's just for, I think, the rest of April. So you can watch The Sopranos, Barry, Baller, Silicon Valley. There's a really compelling McMillions documentary that they have about the fraud that happened with the McDonald's Monopoly game. My wife watched that first episode of that with me the other day. It was awesome. And then some pretty cool movies. The one that I've been wanting to see called Blinded by the Light, which is about a guy who grows up, I don't remember what country he's from, but he grows up in a country where it wouldn't be common for him to be excited about the music of Bruce Springsteen, and him trying to travel to the U.S. and all that kind of stuff. And so there's a pretty good collection of stuff, about 500 plus hours for free to stream on HBO Now.
HBO Now, is that hbonow.com or what?
I think so. I think they're gearing up for, so HBO is launching a new streaming service in about a month. So this is a great way for them to kind of get people used to their platform. And they are the ones that bought the rights to Friends. So they're going to have Friends and The Big Bang Theory. And so they won't be available on Netflix or Hulu anymore. And this will be a new HBO service.
Some things are streamed from, help me understand this, Joe. So some things are on an iPad or on an iPhone or on an Android, and we can play them there and access them there more easily than on a modern smart TV, and then we just mirror it. Is that how many?
I think HBO Go and like all the streaming stuff has nothing to do with AirPlay. It's all just built in. So I have like an Apple TV, and I can just hit the Amazon Prime, and so I can be watching those films from South by Southwest. There's an app on my TV. Same with HBO Now, same with Hulu, same with Netflix. The streaming or the AirPlay, which is the protocol that Apple uses to send information from your phone to an Apple TV, or if you have a Google TV or whatever, it's just a lot of them are starting to make AirPlay, which is the protocol, and then there's also just like Chromecast and a bunch of different ways to stream. In my mind, I think of those more like, hey, I've recorded this cute video of my kids and I want to throw it up on the TV and I don't want to hassle with cords. But most of the time, like all your professional services are going to have their own app out on your smart device, on your smart TV, that'll make it easy for you to not have to worry about AirPlay and everything. Also, if you're AirPlaying from your TV, then if you get a text message or you change the window or something, it's going to stop playing, which is very annoying. So you can't play on your phone at the same time,
Yeah, it's nice to see so many companies are stepping up to give 2-3 months of service without charging folks. Adobe, I had chatted with somebody in India, I guess, or Sri Lanka, wherever their customer service team is, and they hooked me up with 3 months no charge Adobe photography plan. So I was cutting back because I use Capture One and Alien Skin or Exposure, and not Lightroom anymore. So, but they gave me some extra stuff for a little while. It was nice.
Yeah, that's awesome. Yeah, and a lot of people are doing waiving fees or giving people extended grace periods because I know last week on a day last week, 6 million people in one day applied for unemployment. Like it's crazy right now.
Yeah. On that note, I can tell you a great resource for keeping up daily with what's happening with stimulus and mortgage forbearance and the sorts of things that affect our pocketbooks from an individual to a business would be the Clark Howard podcast.
Clark Howard podcast.
Have you heard of Clark Howard, Joe?
No, I'll look that up.
Yeah, check out Clark Howard.
There's also another great resource, just if you want to check it stuff out online, that on the chamber page, on that same page. There's a page that you can go to called Small Business Resources, and it will give you a breakdown on all the different federal relief options, from the PPP comparison charts to the loans and all the different options that are available for business owners. There's so much information out there. I don't want to give any bad information, and I have a limited knowledge and expertise on it, but I know that a couple people that I've talked to didn't know about yet was that they are extending the small business loans and some of the PPP stuff to contractors, sole proprietors, and people in the gig economy. And they're going to be able to apply for those loans and get to use it for the same thing, like paying their own salaries, for example. Then that loan will be forgiven.
Forgiven means forgiven, right?
Forgiven means forgiven. You won't have to pay it back.
Yeah, and I'm aware that the banks are having to, you go to the bank to get that loan.
Go to your bank. So, yeah, that's what you should do. You should go to your
business. Yeah.
And then I'm sure it's all done online. We went to the ATM machine the other day. We walked to the ATM machine. It's plastered with like all these notices about people probably trying to come in to make access to these funds. But I know my bank, which is Wells Fargo, everything's online.
I came across something this morning on LinkedIn from the president of the North Carolina Bankers Association about that very thing. Yeah, SBA.gov. SBA.gov.
SBA.gov. Yeah, so check that one out as well. If you don't live in Cary, that'll be the one where you can find all the information. And it's definitely worth checking out. And another cool thing is we had a cruise scheduled, Josh, and the prices have gone down so much that we canceled our cruise. This was far out into this year. We canceled our cruise and rebooked and saved $3,000. My wife did yesterday.
Way to go!
The prices are dropping.
My goodness.
Well, that's just a little bit about what's going on around here in Cary, and we encourage you to check out all those links. We hope that you found some cool ways to maybe pivot in your business or think through some opportunities that you have in this new kind of virtual drive-up only kind of environment. And if you have any stories like that, we would love to talk about it on our next episode. You can email us at info@guyswhodostuff and tell us what you got going on in your business and how you are making any kind of pivots or what's going on in your world right now. We would love to hear. Check out Bond Brothers. Check out the show notes today for all the links for all the cool stuff that we talked about. And I hope you guys are doing great. Stay safe. Continue to do the social distancing thing. Continue to do the things that the CDC requests of us, and hopefully this thing will be over soon. Josh just turned to black and white because now it got serious.
I like the black and white. I'm liking this whole thing, you know?
You just like that now your white balance is not a concern.
That's so true. Yeah, it's good stuff. Thanks for tuning in.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody. You guys have a great week. Bye-bye. We're going to have to make like a TikTok style dance moves for our theme song if we're going to keep recording so that we're like, I can put my daughters on it. Like, here's the intro to Guys Who Do Stuff. Teach Josh and I a dance that we'll do. I don't know. Maybe that's a terrible idea.
We love making this stuff for you. You can help us out by subscribing wherever you get your podcasts. Get unstuck, tell a better story, and have a good answer to the question, what are you doing today?